We are freaking stinking excited for this episode because this is basically the halfway point of season 1, Jonathan. So cheers, my friend. Coffee cheers. Coffee cheers to you guys listening in. I moved my mouth away from the microphone so you wouldn't hear me gulp.
Excellent.
Things we learned from the first 10 episodes of recording is don't gulp right into your mic. That would be a big one. Before we dive into all the goods, I mean, we are going to share with you our top tips, what we've learned getting these first 10 episodes out.
It's Coffee Social, the podcast all about social media and business. And now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Howard and Mimi Langley.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jonathan Howard.
Hey, Mimi Langley.
Gosh, I have to check my posture. Everyone check your posture right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I was like really hunched over.
Really?
Jonathan.
Really? Hunched over. Do you see my new setup, Mimi? I'm standing. I can't hunch over. That would be weird. I'd be like,
wait, you're standing?
I'm standing.
What? Wow.
I'm standing. I know.
Hey, might as well get those steps in while you're
I should get one of those treadmill things, right?
You should. Oh my gosh. Okay. If you guys have a recommendation for us, please let us know in the comments or message us on Instagram. We want to know.
We want to know. And then that would be the most ridiculous episode. I would be sweating from the lights and the treadmill and it'd be a mess.
We're here for it. We love sweat. So, Jonathan, first of all, we are freaking stinking excited for this episode because this is basically the halfway point of season 1, Jonathan. So cheers, my friend. Coffee cheers. Coffee cheers to you guys listening in.
I got to fix some things on this desk a little bit because this coffee was hard to get to.
I moved my mouth away from the microphone so you wouldn't hear me gulp.
Excellent. I'm going to try the coffee on that side so I can, maneuver a little bit better.
Things we learned from the first 10 episodes of recording is don't gulp right into your mic. That would be a big one.
Correct. We also shouldn't, or any of those noises either.
Although some people do like ASMR.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I don't think our fans do though. Well, maybe some. Who knows?
Well, okay. So before we dive into all the goods, I mean, we are going to share with you our top tips, what we've learned getting these first 10 episodes out, you guys. Like, we are here at the halfway mark for season 1. And we wanted to give some shout outs to all those people who have been leaving reviews on our Apple podcast page. We love you guys for that. I know you can't review on Spotify, but you can drop some 5 stars over there, rate us, and we appreciate you. So do you want to shout some people out, Jonathan? I know you have it up.
Yeah, I have it up here on my phone, and I wanted to shout out Susanna, who has been an incredible supporter of the podcast and, all of our time on Clubhouse. Susanna wrote a really nice review. And then I do love this one that starts with a perfect blend of course it cuts it off. We're a perfect blend, Mimi. So, of course, this is my absolute favorite podcast ever. How could we not love that?
I love it.
We had so many good reviews. We had 22 reviews. And we've only done 10 episodes. Keep reviewing if you haven't. Sign me up. Love the vibe and can't wait to tune in on the 18th, which is Deny. And I cannot find Dr. Jackie's, but I want to shout out Dr. Jackie, who wrote an amazing review and listens to all the episodes and has been a great supporter. So
yeah, and I want to just I want to throw in some names. Shout out to Valerie, Angel, Adam. I mean, you guys really for supporting and always leaving amazing messages, whether it's in a review or on the YouTube channel. We appreciate you. We have to, before we move forward, shout out the person that opened up the podcast. Every time you guys click on one of our episodes, you hear that New Yorker, Michelle Gill. So shout out to Michelle.
Michelle Gill, that entire introduction is hers, and she did a phenomenal job, the music selection and everything. And I think it makes the podcast.
It does. We got you there.
We got me there. It took a while.
I know. Jonathan was battling me. Jonathan was battling me a little bit, but listen, we compromised, and it really does fit the style.
Oh my God. So Mimi, what are we talking about today? Like, I feel like this is such a big episode.
It's a huge episode, and I'm getting a little emotional, so bear with me, Jonathan. It's just I'm thinking about all of those episodes we recorded, and just like even before recording.
Before recording, this was 2-3 months before we started recording our first episode. we started talking about it.
Yeah.
It was a long
I feel
process.
like it was longer than that. It was like way
I know,
longer
well,
than
yeah.
2 to 3 months. But, you know, it was, you
Okay.
know, we were throwing
better.
around the idea. We were throwing
Mhm.
around the idea of possibly doing a podcast. And sometimes, you know, it takes a little while to get that idea going.
Yep.
So we want to talk
Get
to you
me to
guys. There's
agree
a
to
lot
it.
of, I agree. But there's a lot of, you know, prep before the actual get into the studio and record kind of thing. So we want to talk to you guys about the whole process, and hopefully it will help you on your journey of becoming a podcaster. Jonathan, let's kick us off with the first tip. And I have it here in our notes. I always have show notes, by the way. We had to come to the decision if we wanted to do both the podcast for audio and for video, because you can do one or the other, right?
Yep. Yeah, and that was a hard decision because and everything kind of rode on that, because if you're doing video, you need to have video equipment. You need to make sure that you're using a platform that can help you edit the video and the audio together. You've got all the different audio tracks. If you've got guests on, how do the guests join, all of that. So it's a big decision, and doing it audio video, you know, you say it doesn't add a lot, but it does. It adds quite a bit.
I'm laughing because Jonathan is our editor. We kind of threw him into that task, and he does an amazing job, by the way. So just know, if you are going to tackle video, yes, you could upload the raw footage, but you're probably not going to want to.
No, we learned that after our first episode.
There's a lot of outtakes, a lot of things that don't need to be there. But
Yeah.
I think why did we choose to do both? Like right off the bat, like why didn't we just stick with audio?
Well, first of all, I'm a video guy. I teach video. I do have some background in editing. I feel like people make a connection with video. And also, all of our Clubhouse people had never seen us before. They heard us, but they'd never seen us before. So it was kind of a special, you know, nod to them, but also an additional layer to the podcast that they could enjoy.
I love that, Jonathan. I really do. And you just never know. Like, we're uploading these onto YouTube, and YouTube is its own other world of search engine. So it's another way for you also to be found. I do want to just do a quick intro, because Jonathan, we didn't tell people who we are, just in case this is their first time stumbling on us. We're horrible.
Whoops. We're really bad. We're like halfway in.
Can you tell them real quick who you are?
Absolutely. My name is Jonathan Howard. I'm the owner of Success on Social, and that's all you need to know, right? Okay,
No.
I help successful female coaches reach their ideal clients on social media through short form video, sharing their story, and that's how they change the world.
And hi, everyone. I'm Mimi Langley. I teach women in business how to host rooms, how to moderate on social audio. That includes LinkedIn audio and Clubhouse to grow your business from the ground up. We had to do it, Jonathan, because we always teach about that.
You should introduce yourself somewhere in the first minute or so of your video, though, just so clarify that.
Whatever. Listen, we're making it work.
It's working. It's all good. Nobody cares about who you are.
But now that we've established, okay, moving forward, we want to do video and audio. We had to prepare for that, right? So the next thing that we have on the sheet, and by the way, these are not in no particular order. We're just kind of throwing things at you guys. But the other thing that we had to think about was kind of how long did we want the episodes to be? What kind of format do we want the show to have? You know, because we want to try to keep it the same every time someone listens in. So I was fighting for like a 3-hour podcast episode, and Jonathan was laughing at me.
I was laughing. I was laughing quite hard at you for the 3-hour podcast episode, because I was like, wait, what? And who listens to that? Now, I do know there are 3-hour podcasts out there and people listen, but I was like, no, nobody is going to know. So yeah, I needed it to be shorter. So I threw a number like 3 minutes out there. She said longer.
Yeah, he did not throw 3 minutes out there. Let's be real. But we did decide
It's the 1 minute podcast.
Well, listen, there are people out there that do really short episodes. So I think it's another thing. It's like, you know, if you don't know what you want to do, I think looking at the market, looking at other podcast episodes, what are people doing? How long are they talking for? Kind of getting an idea of that way as well can really help you set this up. And show formatting. Yeah. Listen to other podcasts. How are they doing it?
Yeah. Although you had a very clear format that you wanted for this, and you wanted it to be different from everybody else's. You wanted it to feel like a morning talk show.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to bring your own vision to what you're creating, right? We don't always have to be like everybody else. It's like, which is why I like working with you, because you're very open to that.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that you should have a signature style. Somebody shouldn't stumble on our podcast and go, oh my God, it's just like that podcast. I mean, it can remind them of other podcasts, but it should be different.
Yeah, and we're different.
I'm weird. Yeah.
I'm weird. Okay, so we decided we wanted to do 18 minutes because the goal is to give you things, but make it digestible. I can't remember how we did all of these checkpoints. You know, I can't remember what came first, but we're just kind of
spreadsheet.
We have that on here. We will talk about the spreadsheet organization.
Okay, good.
Yes. But the next thing I have on the list for us to talk about is deciding on topics because, and again, this is if you're working with someone, but even if you're not working with someone, it's important to kind of have like a roadmap of how you want those first episodes to go. So,
yeah.
Jonathan, you want to talk more about that?
Well, and I think the other thing is, you know, we had both heard that the best way to go is to drop a whole bunch of episodes. So those people that love to like binge can binge on them. So we're like, we don't want the first 5 episodes, 6 episodes to be exactly the same. So we had to map those out and figure out what we wanted to talk about so that we were both equally balanced. You know, we both have a ton of business experience. We both have a ton of social media experience. So we wanted to make sure that our topics shined in those first episodes, but also that we were entertaining and giving you guys something that you wanted to listen to, because if you don't want to listen to it after the first 2 episodes, you're gone. So we wanted to be something you wanted to listen to and care about. So it's even in the second half of the season, we just mapped out the last 11, and even with changes and stuff, it's like, wow, there's a lot of good stuff in that second half too. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, really, we really took time to develop the points that we wanted to touch, because the podcast is about social media and business. We can go in all different kinds of directions, but I really feel like the first season, we thought about that. We thought about you guys. We thought about the beginning journey, the middle journey. Yeah, Jonathan?
I was just going to say, and we can go in all sorts of directions.
You can. And I think, honestly, I don't know how this happened, but I feel like we have a list of topics that are very different from one another, but yet still apply wherever you are, you know, on your journey. So
yeah,
I think we did a good job. High five.
High five. Was that? I don't know.
That was really, okay. That was good. Well, you almost like smacked me, but anyways.
Oh, well, you know, it's all good. There's times. Spreadsheets.
We did come from the background of social audio. So these were a lot of the topics that we were so used to talking about anyways together. But you could look at YouTube episodes. You can look again at podcast episodes and kind of get an idea of what you want to talk to your audience about. So there's definitely ways to come up with topics. But we definitely for sure locked in those first 6 episodes because we knew we were going to drop 6. Yeah.
Yeah. And we then really had locked in our first 10.
Oh, yeah, we did. Our first 10.
Yeah. We switched one of them out, but we locked in our first 10.
Yeah, and we did it through a spreadsheet, right? And we have a tab. We have a tab in the spreadsheet that has ideas for future podcast episodes. So it's nice to have that too. Yeah. Ooh,
that is an important tab. That is an important tab. And the spreadsheets aren't bad when they start.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Jonathan, let's go ahead and go into a commercial break real quick. We have a couple sponsors for this episode. So
who could those sponsors be?
We'll go ahead and let those play, and then we'll be back for a few more tips.
I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a busy mom with big dreams. I feel like I have no time in the day to write my book or start my blog. That's why I signed up for the Girl You've Got This Action Over Perfection community. It includes dedicated co-working sessions to get things done, brainstorming sessions so you don't drive yourself crazy, and social audio trainings to learn more about gaining visibility and making sales. Check the show notes for a link to sign up.
Tired of being overlooked on social media? Ready to be seen in the crowded marketplace? Attract your ideal clients and increase your impact. The Signature membership combines all the tools you need to level up your presence, share your powerful stories, and have a bigger impact in the world. See the link to join in the show notes.
We hope you guys enjoyed that commercial break. We try to make it as fun as possible for you guys. It's what keeps the lights on for Coffee Social Podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And my dogs.
All right. And your All right, Jonathan, let's continue on this very special episode where we are giving tips on what we've learned for those first 10 episodes that we released. So the next one I have on our notes is, well, I think you wrote this because you said Mimi does the framework of the episodes. What does that mean? Tell the people.
So what that means is Mimi is an amazing, I don't know if it's a producer or whatever, the director, whatever it is. Mimi has a structure for every episode, and she writes it down like what she wants to talk about. And then I go in and I'll make notes on it. I'll see like, hey, I love this point. Hey, I hate this point. Hey, we're going to argue on this one, whatever it may be. But then we have kind of, and as you can tell, for most episodes, Mimi kind of runs the show in that way. She goes through the questions that we have, that we want to answer and that stuff. So that helps us keep the show. I obviously have to keep her on time, but that helps us keep the show structured so that we're staying on time and interesting for you. And I don't have as much editing.
Well, okay, so then you would be the producer, I think. I don't know what the titles would be, but Jonathan does keep us in check when it comes to timing. Which I love that about him. So he's very good about that. And I think the show notes, whether again, you're collaborating with somebody else on a podcast or you're solo podcasting, having some kind of show notes so that you can keep on track. Just like when you're doing a social audio room, right? Having those bullet points so you don't get sidetracked, right? You stay focused. That's basically what the show notes do. And so we have a really good process. Yeah.
Yeah. I also use the show notes in editing to make sure that we stayed on track. And if there's something that's, superfluous and ornamental and not needed, then I just take it out. We can use it as an outtake or a reel or something else. But if it's superfluous, we don't need it in the episode. It goes away.
What is superfluous?
It means unnecessary.
Is that
That's
a
why I
real
said
word?
yes, superfluous and ornamental is what I used to call the people who had useless jobs.
Superfluous.
Superfluous?
Supercalifragilistic? Oh.
Yeah, no. We'll put the definition of superfluous in the show notes.
See, you guys, you listen in for, social media and business tips, but you're also going to walk away with a nice dictionary of words that you never knew existed. Oh my gosh. Okay, I love that. Let's talk about this because I feel like this question's really hot. People always ask this, and that is, where are you recording your podcast episodes, right? And there's a ton of different ways, you guys. You can go on Google and search a ton of different ways. You can go on YouTube and find a ton of different ways. But how do we do it, Jonathan?
Yeah, we're using Riverside. There's a couple of things that it does. It records our audios and videos locally and then sends them to me to edit. So I have the master files that are recorded on the computer first and not on the internet. Zoom does it differently, so it's not as high quality. And you want, really, when it comes to podcasting, what we're learning is your audio makes all the difference. So you want to have the highest quality audio as possible. And the best way to get it is by having high quality audio to start with. We didn't have that really pinned down when we started, but we're getting better. Yeah, we use Riverside. We host on Sprout.
Buzzsprout.
No,
Yeah.
Buzzsprout. I always get it confused with the other social media one. So we host on Buzzsprout, which has been amazing. Like, it is so easy to use Buzzsprout. I recommend it for like everybody. I even just got the YouTube listing done, all of that. Super easy.
Where we record is Riverside, and then Buzzsprout is what helps us, upload it onto all these different platforms. And they do cost money. So that is something to be aware of if you're going to go this route. You have to give a little bit of money, but it's worth it if this is what you want to do, But it's nice, though, when you're working with somebody that you can split the costs. You already kind of touched on this one, but there is a little bit of editing. I don't know when it comes to like audio editing, but if you're for sure going to put this on video, you're probably going to edit the video. So we had to figure out who's doing what, especially when you're working with someone. So we had to figure out, what am I doing? What is Jonathan doing? And Jonathan, one of the tasks was you editing. So if you want to talk about that.
It was me editing. But the funny thing is, when you're doing a podcast with two people, I don't like the way this side of my face looks in that shot, or by making a funny face when like all those things. So we actually have a weird editing process where we record the video and then I will do the first run edit of it. And I will, all the things that are needed for the show, all the things that, kind of get put together, smushed together. And then I will send it to Mimi and she'll listen all the way through. and she'll say, hey, there's a weird, like a weird transition here and a weird here. And I hate the way my hair looks in the last clip. And I'm like, okay, well, your hair's staying. And, but let me get those transitions cleaned up, because you literally go into the timeline and you can clean them up. It's fairly easy. I do it on Riverside for the most part. Sometimes if the audio is really bad, I need to bring it over to Adobe and fix some of the audio. But overall, it's been done on Riverside, and it is fairly easy once you need to have your own style, your own pace, and your show kind of falls into a certain rhythm. You don't want it to get boring, but it falls into a certain rhythm, and once you get that, it's easier.
Yeah, I feel like you don't complain as much as you once did.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like overwhelmed, and that's just how it is anyways. With anything we start, you guys, it kind of can feel overwhelming because we're just not used to it. We haven't found the rhythm, but now we have a rhythm. At this point, we have a rhythm for everything that we do now with the podcast.
Yeah. Yep. Which is a good thing. We need that.
And you have to go through the bad rhythms to get to the good ones. Can we talk real quickly about the master spreadsheet? And then we have one last tip after that. And then we are good to go, you guys. We won't keep you any longer. But we know that this episode is definitely going to help you. So
yes,
I hope you're taking lots of notes, people.
And we have to give that. We have to share the secret.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask, though, do podcast listeners take notes? Like, I'm usually walking when I'm listening. Okay.
Yeah. I'm walking or listening to something else. I'm in a clubhouse room with a podcast going. And
you're so funny. Don't tell people that. Cut that out. Okay, so the next point is our master spreadsheet. And Jonathan, I love your little notes. First of all, if you're watching YouTube, this is kind of like our notes. It's just I print them out. I type them up in Google Doc. And he put, "Don't get me started on the spreadsheets." I love Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Docs. I mean, I love that it's free most of the time, unless you reach your limit. But with this, I wanted to have one central location, kind of like our vault, where I can access it, Jonathan can access it, any logins that we need, passwords that we need, any upcoming episode ideas that we have, like everything, thumbnails, titles, everything, when we're going to film, dates, times, like everything is in there. So it's like one master spreadsheet.
It is the most organized I've ever seen. It has like 450 tabs. I can never find the tab I need. I don't know what goes on what tab. And I just get lost.
He's kidding. Half kidding.
No, I'm not. There's 450 tabs on that spreadsheet. I'm gonna put that in the notes too.
Season 2, I plan on downsizing. Season 2, I will for sure downsize. But remember, we're trying to get our rhythm. And this is what it looks like right now. We're going to screenshot it and have it later when we have like 1,000 episodes. We're going to look back at that spreadsheet and be like, wow. But it's what got us going. That's the thing to remember, you guys. This is what's getting you going in the beginning. So it works. I mean, it's all there.
It works. The other thing is to remember, when you're working with somebody, it's two different people that work in two different styles, and you have to figure out what's going to work, because what works for her clearly doesn't work for me, but what works for me may not work for her. So we have to figure out and we're both strong-headed individuals.
Yeah, I wonder if people came here for the tea, which I don't know if we want to drop any tea. Well, I love Jonathan.
I love Mimi too, but we fought over like YouTube thumbnails.
When you're working with someone, just like Jonathan said, it's like everybody has their own way of working. Everyone has their own vision on things. When you have two strong-minded creatives coming together on this one project, it can be a lot sometimes, right? It's almost like you're in a relationship in a way, right? Like he's my work spouse, really. That's what it is. And so you have to, you will come to a compromise. It's not always going to look nice and pretty. It might get a little ugly, but you have one goal at the end of the day, right? And that is to grow the podcast. That is, to get reach. And so, yeah.
And I wouldn't hit a girl.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't hit anyone.
I wouldn't hit anyone. But there have been times, like I'm no joke. It was a knockdown. Like we need to take a day away from each other. Fight.
Yeah.
Over YouTube thumbnails.
It could literally be as simple as that. Like, although YouTube thumbnails is a big part, for YouTube.
They should all be branded.
I mean, like, this is little stuff to some that, think it's little, that we fought over. And I don't even want to use the word fought, but we had disagreements on. That's a better word. I think we had disagreements on. And we just had to come to some type of reasoning. So,
oh my God,
anyways,
we're so far over on this episode.
I know, but I'm happy that we talked about that, Jonathan, honestly, because I'm sure that there are some people that came here and they're like, how are you working together? Let's go into the last point and then we'll close up. So the last one here we have is have fun always, no burnout. We don't want that. Have some flexibility. And then if you are working with someone, that big word, compromise. So do you want to talk about this?
No, I don't want to talk about compromise. I don't like compromise. I think my way is always right. And I've had to give in a few times, but mostly my way is always right. But here's something else I want to share. I'm going to share a little bit more tea.
Okay.
When it comes to compromise, when it comes to being flexible, know that it's not always going to go right. We recorded the first episode 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times. None of them were anywhere near perfect. 2 of them were usable. And I used clips from one of them and just to fill in a couple parts from the other one. Just to fill it in. Because we needed to.
And also, one of them, or maybe, I think it was the first episode.
Your mic wasn't on.
It wasn't even on, you guys. I was giving like all the goods. Like I was like on a roll. And my mic wasn't even on. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just saying. It's a little fun now because now we can talk about it and have fun with it. That's a good story.
Right. And we are 11 episodes in and we haven't done that again.
Right. We have to, might as well get it done sooner rather than later. Get those hiccups out. You know what I mean?
I just cursed us.
Oh, great. Thanks. Seriously, have fun with this. I mean, obviously there's always a goal at the end of the day when you put on a project like this, but have fun. Enjoy the journey. Give yourself grace. Show up, continue, get better each episode, and that's really what it is. Oh,
absolutely. So do I get to share my favorite line? I always want to tell you guys that if you don't already follow us on all the platforms that we're on, which is like all of them, or listen to us on your favorite platform for listening to podcasts, make sure you do that. Follow us, subscribe, punch us in the face, whatever you got to do. Make sure that you rate us 5 stars. On anywhere you can. Apple, we love 5 stars. We got 22 reviews already. We love to have 44 by the next episode. Subscribe on YouTube. What else I got?
Well, we're also on Instagram at Coffee Social Podcast. You guys would love to have you over there as well. I want to go ahead and end this with asking the most important question of them all. And that is, sure? I don't know if I can handle this though. Okay, let's just do it.
I mean, do you like losing?
I know what the answer is. It's me, but okay. Are you team Mimi or
team Jonathan? The obvious choice.
Team Mimi t-shirts coming soon. Jonathan's buying.
No, that expense
Cheers.
Did not get approved. Bye.
Cheers, bye, Jonathan Howard.
Bye, Mimi Langley.
Bye, guys.
You forgot to say bye, everyone.
I said bye, guys.
You said bye, guys. That's not bye, everyone.
Okay, fine. I'll do bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.